I'd like to call this meeting of the Shoalo City Council to order, show that all council members are present. Tonight I've asked Councilman Adams to lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge by Vice Mayor Kakavas. If you all like to stand and join us.
Our Heavenly Father, we humbly come before this evening. We are grateful that we could gather together as a council and as a community to be able to talk about our beautiful town. Father, we pray that Thou will help us as we discuss and talk about these things, that Thou will be here, that Thou will give us the guidance we need to help our community grow and to help those in our community to feel part of our lovely town. Father, we are grateful for all of our blessings. We're grateful for the staff that we have that give us so much hard work to help our city look so nice. We are grateful for them and ask you to watch and look after them. We are grateful for all that does. And we ask you, and we humbly say these things in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vice Mayor, Councilman Adams. Okay, next item on the agenda is call to the public. Any citizen desiring to speak on a matter that is within the jurisdiction of the City Council may do so at this time. So I do have one. Mr. Roberts. You knew that was the next item on the agenda. How come you didn't start walking up by then? You're way back there.
Evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager, everybody. Thank you. I'm here just to remind everybody that in 2.5 weeks, we will be having the Run to the Pines car show, which begins for the public on Friday afternoon. We start with the cavalcade, which starts here in Shoalo across the street from the Circle K at the LDS Church there. We'll have about 350 to 400 cars in the parking lot there that will then drive all the way down to the Honda Casino, and that's on Friday night. And then, in the past, we've had very good spectator participation. We've had, similar to the 4th of July, everybody lines up and gets their seats a day or so in advance. So we hope to see everybody out there, and we'll hope that we can put on a good presentation for them. On Saturday, down at the Pinetop Lakes Country Club, we will have 580 cars, all 1972 and older. And we have that every year. We don't have room for one more car between everything that's on there, and we have real heavy spectator participation there. Just a reminder that parking is always an issue down there, but we will be running a shuttle from the casino to there. So if you want to park at the casino and ride the shuttle, that'll be your most simplest way to get there and not have to fight the parking hassles. I want to thank the city in advance for all they do when we have that cavalcade. The police department, public works, the fire department, everybody participates and helps us to direct traffic, manage traffic. It always has been a great time and a good place, and we're thankful for all that the city does for that car show, for the Run to the Pines car show, and for the previous car show we had in June. So we're grateful to everybody for the support we get from the community. Thank you.
Doug, real quick, I don't think you said the dates, unless I missed that.
Did not. Friday, September 22nd. The cars will leave the parking lot at 5 o'clock. They'll start lining up there about 3 o'clock. So between 3 and 5, if that's the only time you can look at the cars, come on over to the church and just wander through the parking lot and see what's in the cavalcade. A lot of the cars in the cavalcade on Friday are not registered in the show on Saturday, because the Saturday show has a limitation of 1972 and older. But for our cavalcade, there's no pre-registration, no required registration. So it can be cars as new as brand new, as long as they're special interest cars of some sort. And we get a lot of newer cars. People drive up from the valley just to bring, we've had Corvette clubs come up and bring their late model Corvettes come up. And we've had lots of other groups that come up with their late model cars and join the cavalcade. So that cavalcade, that Friday afternoon cavalcade, has a real, like an extreme diversity of model years. But thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, Doug. All righty, next item on the agenda is special events, update on the White Mountain Track System. Mr. Lund.
Actually,
Oh, no,
that's the old.
that's Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Hey, it's okay. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Steve Dobbs. I'm the new president of Trax.
Right.
Nick Lund left an amazing legacy, and I know I have big shoes to fill. I'm originally from Kentucky. You can probably tell from the accent, and spent most of my working days in agriculture. We moved to Surprise in late 2016 and found the White Mountains in 2019. We built a house here in Show Low and moved here full-time in June 2020. I've always liked to hike, and after settling into our new digs, I discovered mountain biking. I can now spend every day in the forest doing something. I was asked to join the Trax board in late 2021, and it became very active. I failed to say no when Nick Lund resigned in July. Just a quick update on the projects Trax is working on. We've installed 27 rollover gates on most of the trails on the eastern half of our system, with 5 of these being on Ghost of the Coyote west of town. And I'm going to give you a picture of this. See it? Do you guys see it?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's a rollover gate in action with a biker going over to another coming up the trail. These enable bikers and hikers to travel over the rollover gates instead of opening the cattle gate. They were also designed for off-road and cyclists. We've also received a grant from Navajo County, and we're currently in the midst of making a shortcut loop on the Blue Ridge Trail. We mapped this a year ago, and the Forest Service is now finishing up the NEPA part of the approval process. We have lined up a professional trail builder from Colorado to help us with this project. We're coordinating with Jay Brimhall on the proposed city bike park. We're hoping to put a connector trail to the Los Caballos Trail at the same time as the bike park. Let me show you a picture of that. Okay, if you look at the purple, if I can move this up or not. Okay, there to the left would be the Los Caballos Trail that's in blue with the red dots are quarter-mile increments or quarter-mile markers. And the purple trail goes up at a 45 just above Fool Hollow. The Los Caballos Trail is 16 miles long and just south of 260 on Joe Tank Road. The connector would start just south of the Bison Rib subdivision, and it would go under 260 at the Bagnell Wash. We're coordinating with Jason Moore in the new Buena Vista Trail system just east of Highway 60. Between Buena Vista and Los Caballos is the Chihuahua Pines connector. If we get the bike park connector completed, hikers and bikers will be able to travel from the bike park near Penrod on the north side of town all the way to White Mountain Road near Fawnbrook Drive. There's a lot of interest from the public in hiking and biking in the White Mountain Trail system. I'm sure you guys hear this all the time. Los Caballos, Chihuahua Pines, and New Buena Vista Trail systems gives them 40-plus miles of forested trails, not including proposed bike park. I think these trails are an asset that Show Low should be promoting. To summarize, Trax has about 700 members. Our goal is to continuously maintain our current trails and look to building more trails. We appreciate all the support the city gives us. Let's see. Don't got any questions? I can maybe answer one, but
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Hang on one second. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Of the trail system.
Yeah, thank you guys for what you do, too.
every day we're seeing great.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Edward.
Thank you.
Thank you. I won't call you Mr. Lund again, I promise. Next item on the agenda is presentation by Navajo County Public Health Department regarding the Community Health Assessment and Community Health Improvement Plan. I believe Mrs. Lund and Mrs. Solomon. Am I close? And Solomon? I hit it on the number then.
Presentation in here. That one right there. Get this. Get this. My name's Janelle Lynn, and I'm the Public Health Director for Navajo County Public Health. This is Kathy Solomon, and she's our nurse epidemiologist, which is a fancy term for health data analyst, basically. But Kathy's going to be covering the data parts of the presentation tonight. I just wanted to give you a little background. Every 6 years, we do a complete community health assessment, and every 3 years, we do a mini update to kind of gauge where we're at with the initiatives and strategies that we've implemented. The purpose of this, that some of the data sounds kind of negative, so we like to explain the purpose of this is to identify what the needs, barriers, and issues are in our community surrounding health and safety. So that's the way the survey is designed. There's a lot of great things about our community, but what we're trying to gather from this is what are the barriers, needs, and issues so that we can address them and make our community even healthier and safer. So this is, can you guys see this? Okay. So this is a collaborative effort that we do. All of these organizations used to perform their own health assessments. About 6.5 years ago, we decided to collaboratively join and all do a combined health assessment. And then we work together to develop a community improvement plan so that we're all operating off of the same improvement plan, which helps us leverage financial, staffing, and physical resources. So this is just kind of a timeline of our project, and in the interest of time tonight, we're going to brush through some of those pieces so we can focus more heavily on the data. We're going to try to do this for you in about a minute. So I'm going to turn that over to Kathy.
So this one's just a little bit weird, but the reality versus perception just means that the survey that we did among Navajo County citizens was a perception survey to gauge people's attitudes and their health experiences. And the reality is just when we compare it with specific data such that is like case by case, like disease surveillance information. So I'll point out which is which when I'm going through this. So we had about 2,393 citizens complete the survey, which is about 2% of our population. About 42% were between the ages of 50 and 69, and about 73% were female. So the information when it comes to the perception survey may be skewed towards the older female's perspective a little bit.
Can I, real quick, so when you do that survey, you send it out to how many people? And only 2,000 responded? Is that what how does that work?
Send it out as far and wide as we can. We made it available by QR code, by link, and also by paper that we took out to areas that don't have the internet or are not comfortable with technology and that kind of a thing. But we put it out through social media and all
low, I guess I'm kind of getting.
Oh, for this kind of a survey? No, actually, that's pretty good.
Okay.
2%.
Okay. Thank you.
I know that seems weird. And speaking of percentage points, some of the goals in here that you're going to see have very low percentage points just because we're dealing with behavioral change in individuals. And when you get a big population base, even a 1 or 5% change is actually pretty good.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So in this, you're going to see that we broke down the survey into different regions. And then the percentage at the bottom is percentage of respondents from those areas. And of course, we broke it down according to the tribal regions. And things aren't perfect when we did it because we had to do it according to zip code. And Winslow and Dilcon, for instance, share a zip code, but we put them in Winslow because the population base is bigger. The South County and North County were broken apart according to where most of the citizens seek out their healthcare needs. So we're mostly going to go over the data, but everything that is in here as far as data and goals and although you can find in the Community Health Improvement Plan or in the Community Health Assessment, which I believe you all got. So our first priority that we found from our community health assessment was social determinants of health. And these priorities are not in any order, one being greater than the other. It's just this one fell number one. So our median household income is $46,126, and in Arizona it's $65,913, and in the U.S. it's $70,784. So we're a little lower than the others, but also our cost of living is just a little bit lower as well. 16.7% of Navajo County residents experience food insecurity, compared to 10.1% for Arizona. And 21.9% of Navajo County households receive SNAP benefits or food stamps. And then in the top box, this is the point in time count for our homeless population. It says 58 individuals, but this was done in the middle of winter, actually during a snowstorm. And people go out and try to find and count the homeless. So we do not think that this is very accurate, and they are performing a new pit count right now. We just don't have the results back yet. And then the bottom one is the living wage that an individual needs in Navajo County. If you're a single adult with 0 children, then you would need the 15.79 to be able to make a living wage. And then as you add a child on, it goes up. And then the other one is for 2 adults with both of them working, what you would need for 0 children and so forth. So if you look at that, the minimum Arizona wage is $13.85. So we're a little bit off in that area. Our second priority was substance use. Navajo County had 27.8 per 100,000 individuals die from opioid overdose. And naloxone was administered in 94.4% of suspected non-fatal opioid overdose responses in Navajo County, which gave us only 47.3 per 100,000 non-fatal opioid overdoses in 2022. We're just going to go past that one. On our survey, mental health came up a lot. And as you can see in the circle on the left, 42.8% of the respondents in the survey said that they experienced anxiety or depression on a daily basis, or they were greatly affected by it, like with a household member that did. Loneliness was the #1 social concern for Navajo County residents. And our mental health providers, we have twice as many people per mental health provider as the rest of Arizona does, which might be part of the issue as well. In Arizona, the second leading cause of death for adolescents aged 15 to 19 is suicide, which isn't a really good statistic at all. And then our trend for suicide deaths in Navajo County is in the tan box. And as you can see, we had it going down, and then it went up during COVID, and now it's going back down, and we hope to keep it down, or going that way anyways, trending. This priority number 4, sexually transmitted infections, was a little bit surprising, not in the numbers, because it's kind of trended that way for a couple of years, but in the respondents of the survey. It was widely divergent between perception and reality. Perception was 1.5% said that individuals in their family experienced an STD. Whereas you can see in Arizona, all STDs are 822.7 per 100,000, and Navajo County's is 990.1 per 100,000. Our females of childbearing age are the ones who experience the STDs the most, which is bad for us because of congenital syphilis rates. Congenital syphilis is something that affects our most vulnerable population when they are born. If the mother has syphilis, then they can be born with long bone deformities, blindness, hearing issues, all sorts of things. And our rate is 886 per 100,000. Arizona is only 150, and the US is only 57. That is an issue for us. in Navajo County among all 15 counties, Navajo County among all 15 counties in Arizona, we rank #1 for syphilis, #2 for gonorrhea and congenital syphilis, and #3 for chlamydia. And then our 5th is chronic disease or chronic conditions. And our survey came back in every region that I showed you before. Obesity or being overweight was the #1 issue that people dealt with on a daily basis and or struggled with. Heart disease was next, chronic pain, diabetes, and autoimmune disease. And as you can see, most of those can be linked to obesity. If we can get that under control, that'll help us with the others as well. The next page, or the next slide, has our trend for being overweight and or obese. And in 2021, our obesity among our citizens was just over 30%, and being overweight was about 37-ish%.
So like I said, in the interest of time, we've kind of rushed through this, but in your full reports, there's a lot more data in detail on what was on the slide, but additional data under each priority as well. So we encourage you to take some time to look at those. The health assessment report is the report of the data from the survey, and the health improvement plan takes that data and tells you what we plan to do to try to address some of those things. So working collaboratively with the groups who combined with us to do this health assessment, but also all of our community partners. There's a work group that is developed for each of these priority areas where we work together as a community to develop strategies and interventions to help improve these issues. And then quarterly, we all meet to see where we're at with these. Are we moving the dial forward? What data are we looking at to prove that we're having successful outcomes? If we're not moving the dial in a positive direction, what do we do to shift to get back on track? And so that's what we'll be working on for the next 6 years. And we hope that we will see an improvement by the time we do the next health assessment in all areas. But we ask for you guys to be champions for the health and safety of our community and help our public be aware of these issues, but also help them be focused on what we can all be doing to improve our health and the health of our community. So thank you for letting us present this information to you. And if you have any questions.
Yeah, you noted in your report that there's a perception, or maybe it's a reality, that our cost of living is less than what it is statewide. That seems to be a misnomer for a lot of people that come up here and that kind of thing. How are we addressing that particular?
That our cost of living is just a tiny bit less.
So I'm trying to make sure I understand your question. So the misperception that our cost of living is less, is that what you're talking about?
The misperception that our cost of living is higher,
Right,
in the White Mountain area seems to be an issue in reaching a number of potential employees for the area.
So one of the things we're really working on as one of our initiatives is housing. And all aspects of housing, from affordable housing to homelessness and across the gamut, and really helping the community be informed about that. Where are we at price point compared to other communities? What is our living wage compared to other communities, so that you can help people really understand that concept of comparing the cost of living to the actual living wage here, but also trying to do things that we need to do in our community to make more housing available that's affordable across the board. One of the big pushes now is that we don't talk about homelessness, that we talk about what is appropriate housing differs by person and their circumstance. What you may consider, affordable and decent housing may differ from what I do. Some people think living in a tent is great, and that's their goal. Other people want to live in, multi-million-dollar mansions. So really just focusing on what can we do to make sure that housing meets the needs of that person, and what do they feel is acceptable and affordable housing is kind of the new push. But those are some of the initiatives that we're working on under that category. Another is childcare and having access to childcare period, but especially affordable childcare. These are big issues. They're not issues we're going to solve overnight. That's partly why having that collaborative approach is helpful. If any of you would like to sit on any of our work groups, we welcome you to join. Or if you have ideas or comments or suggestions for us in those areas, please let us know so we can take those back to these groups.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can we go back one slide there? I think what I've taken from Janelle and Kathy's strategy one, increase recreational facility, I think that now building the sports tourism complex is a matter of life and death. So I think that we need to make sure that we treat it as such when we discuss that in the future of the critical
I thought we had
importance.
been.
I'm saying now we got the empirical data that says it's a life or death issue. It's a safety issue now, Mayor.
Okay.
So, and it's been approved by Janelle and Kathy from the Health Department that we will save lives. We build that.
Councilman Olson.
I want to thank you for your input on all this, and bring us all the data. I kind of heard through, I think you kind of answered my question through your comments, but my question was going to be, when can we see some of this data that you're working on and where it's changing? But then I heard you say something like 6 years, and I hope we don't have to wait 6 years. So, I'm hoping that 6 months or so like that, you can give us another update and say, hey, it's either doing worse or it's doing better, and we're hoping it's going to do the better side of it. But, with the low numbers, you always get high incidents, and hopefully if we get high numbers, it would lower that down. So, hopefully we can get some more surveys out there and get more people to answer that for you. So appreciate your work on it, though.
So the health improvement plan that comes out of this is a living document. So when these groups meet every quarter, the first few times they're meeting, they're going to be deciding what data sets do we want to be tracking to make sure that we're moving the needle in the right direction. So the first about 6 months to a year are spent in a lot of planning, identifying the data sets, making sure different organizations are tracking the same ones so that you can track, compare apples to apples. But then when they, and then they'll develop the action steps and the strategies with the data to make sure they're meeting their goals. And then we'll continue to meet quarterly, and those will be developed into a quarterly report that we will load into this health improvement plan that's a living document. And you can access that at any time on our county website. This one is live, and then quarterly we'll be updating that. But we're also happy to come back whenever you would like us to. If you'd like us to come update the council, every 6 months or once a year and kind of show you where we're at. But yes, it's a living document that will be being assessed and updated at least every quarter throughout this 6 years.
When you have great news, come on back.
Okay.
So you don't need an
We
invitation.
solve all the health problems.
Complex. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I think about the loneliness that you had on some of those slides, and I've been involved with NACOG forever, and of course, the Meals on Wheels program, and some of those stats are probably a little different with our seniors because they probably don't get out and take these surveys. But I know some of the seniors that we deliver meals to, that is their social hour when somebody shows up and delivers a meal. So that's not even part of your stats. So I couldn't imagine the loneliness of people that did take the survey. So it's bigger than that. I'm sure the drugs, the opioids, got to be, since we're higher than the state, I think I'm saying, that's kind of, it's really not shocking because I think we have been that way for a while now. It's just what direction do we need to go? But yeah, anytime you guys want to give us an update, man, come on back, because especially good news. I mean, if it's starting to trend.
There's some good news on that. We had 94.4% of our people who experienced an overdose received naloxone. If they hadn't, they would have died, and our mortality rate would have been twice as high.
Good news, but sad.
That's a positive.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, thank you guys very much. Oh,
I have one
Vice
more
Mayor.
question on the living wage. I think it was $13.01 an hour
For
for a single individual.
$15.79 for a single individual with no children in that county. That's living wage.
So can you go back to that slide maybe?
I think it was if you had two adults in the household. 13.12 if you have two adults
Yeah,
in the
two
house, so it's
adults. Okay.
13.12 apiece.
Gotcha.
But Arizona is 17.78 for one adult and 28 for 25.
Other questions? Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Okay, next item on the agenda is consent calendar. Will I entertain a motion to proclaim by the mayor proclaiming September 17th through the 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week. Consideration of resolution number R 2023-18, approve intergovernmental agreement with Navajo County. Consideration of award to purchase City Hall fleet, police department vehicles. Consideration of non-commercial ground lease with LD&B LLC. A lot to read here. Consideration of acceptance of installation of 2 park rematas. Consideration of acceptance of Parkview water line replacement project. Consideration of acceptance of East Hall and North 11th Street Bridge. Consideration of acceptance of sunken manhole repair projects. Consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting on August 15th, 2023. Is there anything that needs to be pulled? Vice Mayor.
I'd like to have 7C. Oh,
Okay. We'll hold 7C off.
I move to approve everything except for 7B then.
Got a motion, any second? 7C.
7C, excuse me.
Got a motion, I got a second. All those in favor? All those opposed, motion passed. Go ahead, Vice Mayor. We'll talk about
Yeah,
7C.
on the fleet vehicles, I noticed that from Schiller Ford, for City Hall, we have a Ford Explorer for $40,708. And for an Expedition, $57,192. I'm just wondering if there is really a need to have an Expedition. So $17,000 difference, yeah, just for size, so to speak.
You want to address that, Morgan?
So what?
It's to haul the root beer.
It's the whole root beer to league conference.
Okay, so the question is why we need the Expedition.
Expedition versus the Explorer.
The Expedition is actually a replacement of the city manager vehicle. That's to have a little bit bigger vehicle when we travel. This last week when we went down to city league meetings, we barely fit in there. John can tell you with the root beer and everything else that we had to have. It gives us a little bigger vehicle when we travel to some of these away places.
That's on an annual basis. I guess I'm just not quite sure myself if $17,000 weren't, I'm not using it on a daily basis or something.
It's not on a daily basis, but there's often times when I have to travel and take a little bigger vehicle. And I think the dealership had one coming in, so kind of coincided.
That's correct.
Good comment. Anyone else have a comment on that?
We did have a pack full. It's pretty.
What is that that you're driving now? What is that?
It's an Explorer.
It is Explorer.
That vehicle will be used for another travel vehicle.
Right. For somebody, for like 2 people then, and their luggage. Anybody else? So I'll entertain a motion to accept C as, I can read it again if you would like. Let me read it again. Consideration of award of purchase of City Hall Fleet Police Department vehicles purchase and authorize associated budget transfers. Entertain a motion for that. Item C.
I'll move to approve item C as read with the associated budget transfers for $97,901.45 to Shola Ford. And the reason for that is I know, there's been multiple times where myself has had to travel in the back of a vehicle in like an Explorer or something like that. And I think that there's multiple meetings, not only to the league conference, but throughout Navajo County, throughout to the valley and stuff like that, that council tries to travel together and stuff like that. And so if that occurs, I don't feel comfortable sitting in the back seat of an Explorer or of like an Escape or something like that. So I think that it would be worthwhile for the city manager to have that vehicle and have access to it. So I'll make that motion.
Got a motion. I got a second by Councilman Judd. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you. And I can talk about that one too, because I drive the Nissan, what is that, Highlander or whatever, and I wouldn't get in the backseat of that. Guaranteed. Anyway, thank you, Vice Mayor.
You guys need to pay attention to this CHA.
Yeah, we get obesity. We need to drop some weight. That's what she's saying.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Your wife's sitting at home cheering. Preach on, Vice Mayor, preach on.
All righty, next item on the agenda under new business is consideration of award of professional service contract for design of Savage Sewer Replacement Project Phase 1, City of Shola, project number S2624. Mr. Hemphaw.
Excuse me, Mayor and Council. City's been awarded $800,000 in federal direct spending to reconstruct the Savage Sewer Main Phase 1. A scope of work includes removing the undersized existing 12-inch sewer main and replacing it with a larger 18 to 24-inch sewer main and adding polymer manholes. City staff solicited a proposal from Ironside Engineering to perform the necessary design services. The scope of the proposal includes conducting the required project survey and mapping, preparing the required preliminary engineering report, environmental category exclusion paperwork, preparing construction documents, obtaining ADQ approvals to construct, construction staking, and completed as-built drawings. The proposed cost for these services is $96,700. Staff recommends awarding the professional services contract for the design of the Savage Sewer Replacement Project Phase 1, City of Shola project number S2624 to Ironside Engineering and surveying in amount not to exceed that $96,700. Scope of services is attached as well as the aerials and subject map. If you have any questions, I'm available to answer those.
Any questions or comments, or Councilman also?
Just a question. So phase 1, we're taking and putting in all that 24-inch pipe. That it's in the red there, or the blue, or I can't. In the red?
Yeah, it's starting in Old Linden Road. It's the blues first phase, and it's going to move up to about where the Whipple Ranch Elementary School is located, and that'll be just the first phase. It was broken into phases just because of the sheer cost of doing it all at once. This is a large project, very deep sewer. So when we chased this federal money, they liked smaller requests, so we couldn't ask for the whole amount.
So, and everything we've done at the sewer plant in the last 5-6 years is everything's doing great there, and then this year's just going to help. Hopefully to have the flow going a little bit better.
Yeah, the existing 12-inch main is getting pretty full.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Councilman Adams.
When was the original sewer line put in?
I don't recall. I don't have that offhand. It was done a while ago. I don't know for sure. I would say at least 25 years ago from what I was hearing, or longer. I think the growth expectations when the 12-inch was put in was that would last us quite a really long time. But we've grown so quickly, especially in this area of town. We've maxed that out.
Thank you.
Questions or comments or motions?
Or a comment. There was someone in town visiting, and they're from another town, and I was telling them how far you've got things planned out, and you've always got things organized in the blue and the yellow phase, and so they were pretty impressed with that. So we're always impressed with how you and city staff do with this kind of stuff, where you've got it all planned out for several years. So we appreciate that, all you do for that.
You bet. And just so you guys know too, this year's budget, we also have funding to do the wastewater master plan update. Last time we did it was 2007. This year we're going to do it again and plan it out for another 20 years.
Awesome. Councilman Olson.
If there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I move to award professional service contract for the design of Savage Sewer Replacement Project Phase 1, City of Sholo, project number S2624 to Ironside Engineering and Surveying, Inc., in amount not to exceed $96,700.
Got a motion, I got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed. Next item on the agenda is consideration of award of purchase for decorated streetlights for East Union and East Hall. Mr. Hempsall.
The fiscal year's 2024 budget includes $60,000 to purchase decorative streetlights for East Union and downtown Sholo. Streetlight project, or a streetscape project, excuse me, was completed last year, and the conduit and pole bases have been installed. East Union will receive 10 decorative streetlights to match the other improved areas of downtown Sholo. City also recently completed the sidewalk streetscape improvements near the intersection of East Hall and 11th Street. The bridge replacement and sidewalk improvements also include the installation of conduit and pole bases required for the decorative lighting. This area will receive additional 4 decorative streetlights. To reduce redundant shipping and procurement costs, the 4 lights have been added to the East Union streetlight purchase, resulting in a total of 14 lights. The equipment will be purchased under Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement, Contract 091422-WES from Wesco for $81,338.88. The streets general improvement line item in the budget will cover the overage. The quote is attached. I'm available for questions.
Thanks, sir. Any questions? Real quick, I guess, the other lights that we bought, we had to replace with LED. These come ready to go, right?
These do, yeah, come with the bulbs that are match all downtown.
Okay, so we don't have to replace them. Thank you. Questions or comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion. Vice Mayor.
I move to award the professional services contract for the design of Savage, well, that's staple.
It was close.
I move to award the purchase of decorative street lighting for East Union and East Hall under Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement, contract number 091422-WES, in an amount not to exceed $81,238.
Got a motion, I got a second by Councilman Hatch. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Do you need a chair or anything? You good?
One more, just one more.
Make sure you're comfortable.
Real quick, Mayor, I just had a couple comments. I had people comment about downtown, how well it looks, and it really is. It looks amazing. I wish we could take pictures and kind of put what it used to be like and what it is now, because I think people forget, because I know there's a lot of hard work there, and it really looks good, and I want to compliment you guys for that. It's a nice job, but I would like to see us maybe do something before and after photos so people could realize that that we've done this for a lot of years, and it really has helped Sholo. It looks.
Well, now that you're on that, I talked to city manager about 2 weeks ago to do something with the statue area, because it needs to be brought back to life, because it's kind of, some of the bricks that are in there back in when they first started that project. So we just need to fix that up a little bit too. So that's probably coming up soon. But
There's actually a neat place to look on Google Maps, Street View. If you go down Street View downtown, there's some new sections and there's some old sections. You can still see Pat's Place and some of the older ones.
Oh, really?
really,
You can see some of the older downtown if you can do some of that.
well, thank you for the comment. All righty, next item on the agenda is consideration of resolution number R 2023-19 approving and authorizing intergovernment agreement with Arizona Department of Transportation for East Wilford Road reconstruction project. Mr. Hempsall.
Thank you. The City of Sholo requested and received $1,269,000 in fiscal year 2023 allocation of highways infrastructure programs, or HIP, Congressional Direct Spending Project Funds. The scope of the project is to reconstruct Wilford Road from East Whipple to State Route 260. The existing asphalt section will be removed and a stronger asphalt section will be installed between the existing curbs. Funding is federal funding and will be administered by the Arizona Department of Transportation for the duration of the project. The current pre-design construction estimate for the reconstruction project is approximately $1.9 million. The city is responsible for any project costs over the federal funding award of that $1,269,000. Our federal match for this funding is 5.7%, or $76,705, plus that additional funding required to complete construction, resulting in a total match of approximately $650,000. City's fiscal year 2024 budget includes our anticipated match for the project. The resolution approves authorizing the intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation for the Wolford Road Reconstruction Project and authorizing the mayor to sign said agreement. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, sir. I'll start that real quick. So when is this project, first of all, going to start? And I know, is it even on their plans to start this?
This pot of money, because it was direct spending money, they have their own set of groups and new managers that are overseeing these. They have to manage to kind of oversee this pot of money. They don't have it in their plan. It's just directly sent to us. And so it's as soon as we can get through the ADOT process, get through the federal process. So we have to go through all the environmental clearances, submit all of our design in steps, the 30, the 90% plans. Our goal is to do it next summer. They said that sounds pretty quick, but we're pretty ambitious. We already got the design contract underway. We already took geotech samples. The 30% design should be done here in the next month or two. And we're working with ADOT to get it through their process as soon as possible. And then, yeah, our goal is next summer.
That kind of leads up to my next comment about the time of year or summer, because that's like a freeway and we're going to block that off for probably a month. I mean, if I was guessing, or longer. Yeah, so I guess it'd be nice to see if we can get it done a year from now, when it starts slowing down a little bit.
All of it. That's something we can work with ADOT on.
Yeah, it'd be really nice if we didn't do it in the middle of summer, because it'd be a disaster. 4th of July parade, I don't know what we'd do. We'd have people fly out of town, I guess. I don't know.
We've started to talk about too, if we mandate this thing be built in phases, like construction from the first, from Whipple to Cedar Pines, and then from Cedar Pines to Twin Peaks down, kind of make it where there's sections that you can always still get around.
Sure.
That'd be something like that we need to really.
There is ribbon curving on both sides, correct?
Just the whole direction.
Councilman Clark.
You asked all my questions, so thank you.
Sorry.
No, I was just wondering about the timing of it, so.
Right. Councilman Adams.
One question, and someone mentioned about it. Will this have sidewalks also?
No, I think we talked about this last time. There's just because of how restrictive this funding is, we don't want to get too much disturbed for the environmental clearance. We want to keep it as simple as possible. So we're just fixing the roadway between the curbs. But in our 5-year CIP, there is a multi-use path along Wolford from the same section, from Whipple down to the movie theater. I'm hoping that comes up in the plan the next couple of years and we can get something designed and funded to add a pedestrian component to that corridor, because there is none.
Who'd want to walk down that road, but more pride. Somebody made that comment to me because we put the signs up for the park, going, well, we're going to put a park there and no sidewalks. So that was kind of part of that same conversation, but still walking down Wolford would be crazy. Councilman also.
Well, the first ones I would think would be walking down the sidewalk would be the elk, because they're walking down the middle of the road anyway, so we can move them over to the side there a little bit. But my question, Shane, was the existing asphalt section will be removed and a stronger asphalt. What's going to be the difference between the asphalts?
Actually, it's the whole section. So I believe this roadway was designed really to entertain about 2,500 vehicles a day, and it's seen about 17,000. So the 3-inch or 4-inch on 8-inch base is just not sufficient. We need a much bigger, stronger section, something similar like Old Linden Road, where it's 5 or 6 inches of asphalt on a 10-inch base or something along those lines. We're kind of waiting on the geotech to kind of give us an idea of really what needs to be built there. We're not trying to create a highway like ADOT, but we're trying to strengthen this thing up that it's seen the load and the traffic that it needs to be stronger.
Well, I look at it as we use it a lot for detouring for our parades and everything else down through there. So we got a lot more semis down in there instead of just regular cars. So I totally agree with what you're saying. So I just want to know what the difference was. I didn't know what the difference was. So thank you.
Shane, will this include upgrading the sub-base under the asphalt?
It may. We may have to put some geogrid down or do some additional base repairs. So we're kind of waiting on the geotech to give us some recommendations. But I believe in the original estimate, we just assumed putting geogrid down too to strengthen the base before we put new section.
Questions or comments or motions? Vice Mayor.
I move to adopt resolution. I'm doing Resolution number R 2023-19, approving the intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation for the Wolford Road Reconstruction Project and authorizing the mayor to sign said agreement.
Thank you. I got a motion. I got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All righty, next item on the agenda is consideration of ordinance number 2023-05, extending and increasing corporate limits of City of Show, Navajo County, State of Arizona by annexing their TO certain territory contingents to exiting city limits of Sholo, number P 1523.
On July 18th, the City Council was presented with a request to annex property approximately a third of an acre near Sholo Lake into the City of Sholo, described as portions of AP numbers 212-11-002 and 212-11-003A. At the council meeting, staff was directed to file a blank petition with Navajo County. Blank petition was filed on July 19th. As required by state statute, a public hearing was held on August 15th. After the public hearing and after the 30-day waiting period expired, signatures were obtained and the signed annexation petition was recorded with Navajo County. The next step in the annexation process is for the City Council to adopt an ordinance approving the annexation. The ordinance incorporates the policy of the City of Sholo for providing newly annexed land and adopted by the City of Sholo pursuant to resolution number 878. The proposed property for annexation is needed for the construction of a road in the proposed development of Lakeshore Village. The owner of the annexed property will be responsible for all the construction of the road as set forth in the aforementioned policy. Reading and adoption of the ordinance 2023-5 is scheduled for tonight's meeting, and the ordinance would be effective in 30 days.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Or motions?
Have me read the title.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Welcome.
City of Sholo Ordinance Number 2023-05, an ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Sholo, Arizona, extending and increasing the corporate limits of the City of Sholo, Navajo County, State of Arizona, pursuant to the provisions of Title 9, Chapter 4, Article 7, Arizona Revised Statutes, and amendments thereto by annexing thereto certain territory contiguous to the existing city limits of the City of Sholo, Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now I'll turn it back to the council. Or Vice Mayor.
I move to adopt ordinance number 2023-05.
Got a motion. I got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Motion passed unanimously. All righty, next item on the agenda. Thank you, Rachel. Sorry about that. It must have been on my right side or something. Summary of current events. Council members?
I'd like to express my appreciation to the city for allowing us to attend the League of Cities and Towns Conference. It was a really good event. I look forward to really studying and looking at how some of the water issues and development issues that are being experienced throughout the state affect our community and how we can best implement them. Anyways, I appreciate that opportunity.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know if anybody knew, but today was National Be Late to Anything Day. So, I know, and I was gonna say Clark usually is there, and the vice mayor came in right at the right time, so she must have got the memo and seen all that today, so. But, no, I want to thank the city for letting us go to the League of Cities and Towns, and especially I want to thank the city manager, the assistant city manager, Councilman Adams, and city attorney for putting together our booth and everything else and getting everything ready to hand out to all the other city and town people, all the mayors and that came through and see what our group looks like. And that's with Sholo and Pine Top Lakeside, Winslow, Holbrook, St. John's, Springerville, If I missed any, I apologize, but I think I got all of them that was in there. Snowflake Taylor. And and we gave our root beer away like we always do, so we had a great time doing that. The one good thing about the League of Cities and Towns I look forward to all the time is seeing our youth delegation go down there from Shoalo High School. This year, they carried the flag along with the mayor to show everybody off what the city of Shoalo flag looks like, and also what the name of the Dusa Clubs means. And so they had a great time, and they were in class from 7:30 that morning until 3 o'clock. So they did a lot of classes, and they did a lot of networking, and I'm just proud of our high school kids for coming out and doing the stuff that they do with the League of Cities and Towns. So I want to thank Shoalo High School for letting the kids and the chaperone to come to the League of Cities and Towns. I had went and seen the Battle of the Bands and Food Bands. I helped work on that, and for 7 hours I took people's ID, and man, did I have a lot of fun with that. I mean, there was a lot of laughing and joking with some of these IDs that people were, and then they didn't bring them. They said, "Just look at me. What you can't?" I said, "Don't you love being carded at 65?" So. But no, it had a great time. All the bands did great. The food was great. So there was a big tent out there, and they had everybody underneath it to help shade the sun away from them for a while. So the next big thing is coming up for the Main Street is the Trick or Treat, and that's coming up in October. So we'll keep you informed on what's going on in that and where it's going to be held. So that's it for me.
Thank you. I actually had the privilege, I got invited to have lunch with the kids that carried the flag on that Thursday, I believe. And I look at some of these kids sitting at the table and I'm going, there's no way you're a senior in high school. I don't get it. I mean, they literally, the poor girl that carried our flag, I lost her a few times because I seen our flag sticking in the air, but she was below everybody else. So I thought it was just standing there, but it was fun. City Manager.
Mayor and Council, just a few public works projects. We completed the sunken manhole project this last week, and then the contractor is going to begin work on the Fools Hollow Waterline project, and also they're grading and compacting in the McNeil Acres and Nicholas subdivision in preparation for paving over there. And then the concrete work is completed, and they're doing final cleanup and adjustments to the guardrail on the East Owens Road. So we appreciate everybody's patience as we complete those projects.
That's it? Wow. Anybody need seconds? So the almanac came out today. I guess we're supposed to have a long and very cold winter. So we'll see. Scheduling meetings.
Mayor, just to remind you that the council retreat is going to be on October 25th at 9 a.m. in the Darren Reed Conference Room. And then just to remind council, on the next council meeting, we're going to have the youth with us, the youth delegates. So that's going to be at the next council meeting. We'll give you the schedule and everything for that, but they'll be coming to our next council.
Thank you. Are they going to spend the whole day again? Good. Okay. If there's no more business before this council, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, guys.